The first real mention of something like a blockchain was in the 1991, introduced as a way to store digital information so they could not be tampered with. But it was never really used until a person or group known as Satoshi Nakamoto, who by the way no one knows who is till now, said, "Hey, let's use this idea to make digital currency." And boom, Bitcoin exists. A digital currency that has very secure data. How is the data kept secure? It's all in the definition of a blockchain. First, to know what a blockchain is, you must understand what a block is. No, I'm not talking about this block. Think of this block more like a data container that contains 3 pieces of information, because a block is 3 sides, right? Well, it's 6 sides, but you only need to draw 3 to make it look like a block on a 2D piece of paper. The first piece of information is the data a block contains, which can vary depending on what the blockchain is used for. In the case of Bitcoin and stuff similar to Bitcoin, it basically says, hey, this person sent this person whatever amount of money, which means it contains the name of the sender, the receiver, and the amount of whatever juicy currency the app uses. For example, the first piece might store information that Matt sent Rob 1 Bitcoin. So that's just the first part of it. The second piece of information is weird. It's a gigantic sequence of random numbers and letters that is special to that block. This bizarre sequence of numbers and letters is called hash. Nope, it's not this kind of hash. Think of this hash as a massive name. It basically works as the identity of the block, gives it a name and uniqueness that no other block can have. Say for example, our block, which had the information that Matt gave Rob 1 Bitcoin, would have its unique hash, which consists of total random numbers and could be W0N5NE1PA5PRAH52EB1RC5BU5, and even longer than that, but you get the idea. Which, by the way, if written backwards says, subscribe to Sharp Sapiens now. Now the reason why this hash is important, because it makes the blockchain very, very secure. And that's because changing anything within the block also changes the block's hash. If a block's hash is modified, it's not considered the same block anymore. Hashes are how people can detect changes to blocks, so it's safe to say that it's pretty useful. So in our example, Matt sent Rob 1 Bitcoin. The hash was W0N5NE ... And if someone tried to tamper with it, say they tried to change that the Bitcoin was sent from Matt to Mario instead of Rob, or someone tried to change the number of Bitcoin that were sent from 1 to 2, that will result into the hash being changed to something else. For example, instead of W0N5NE1PA5 ... it could change to RETAL5NE1P ... And these hashes can be very long, by the way. This is then easily detectable that the block has been tampered with. The third slice of info is the hash of the block before it. Since the blocks are within a chain or a link, there is always a block before it unless it is the first block of the chain, also known as the genesis block. So the block will also store the previous hash of a block. This is needed so if any block has tampered data, it can be detected, since if anything is changed within the block, the hash will also change. So if we use our block, which has 3 sides, and on its side 1, the information, Matt sent 1 Bitcoin to Rob. To make it easy, let's call it MTR, Matt to Rob. Side 2, the hash generated from the transaction, MTR, which was W0N5NE blah 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 blah. Side 3, the hash from the last block that our block MTR is chained or linked to. For example, the block our block was linked to had its own hash, which was XYZ12TYLOPR78 ... whatever. That will be stored on the third side of the block. So if the block before our example block is tampered with, then its hash will change and will no longer match the hash stored on the third side of our MTR block. It's such a simple yet useful technique, but just in case, there is even more security involved. Let's say the person tampering with the block really wanted to get away with this. So they said, you know what, let's change the hashes of all the other blocks following it to make the chain valid again. It sounds like a great idea. But little do they know, there's this other piece of security called proof of work, which slows down the process of new blocks being created. Bitcoin decided that about 10 minutes was enough for the block creation process. So I don't know about you, but if I were to tamper with a block, I would not want to have to wait an entire 10 minutes every single time I tampered with another block. So if there are something like 10,000 blocks chained to each other, I say best of luck to you, mate. Still, Nakamoto had to be safe and assumed that there just might be that one person out there who has a ton of time on their hands, and decided to wait a full 10 minutes to tamper with every single block. So in order to have even more security, it's been agreed that the Bitcoin network should not be run by just Nakamoto, but rather than the entire Bitcoin community, making it what is called decentralized. So it can be run by the people rather than being run by only a few decision makers, or something more significant like how the US dollar is backed by the US government. This allows a peer-to-peer or a P2P network to form, and anyone can join it. Whoever is within this network gains a full copy of the current blockchain, and thus meaning that together the network can make sure things are still in order. So any person who joins the network will have access to all the hashes of all the blocks created. This also allows the network to approve of new blocks created to make sure they have not been tampered with. If more than 50% of the network believes that the block is valid, it will then be added to their own copy of the blockchain. The people in the peer-to-peer network of Bitcoin are considered Bitcoin miners, because the people who are part of the peer-to-peer network are rewarded with coins for their work on validating blocks. How nice. This means that to tamper with even one single block, you must redo the proof of work, change all the blocks that follow. That means wait 10 minutes after changing one block, and if there are 1,000 of blocks after that, then you have to change all the other blocks as well. And even after all this, get over 50% of the peer-to-peer network or all the miners to validate your block, which is nearly impossible to accomplish. Another unique thing about the currency of Bitcoin is that it is considered to have no value. This does not mean it's not valuable. It simply means that since it is not backed by anything, there is no official label to how much one Bitcoin is worth. And the value of a single Bitcoin really depends on the person you're speaking to and the current time. Some may say a single Bitcoin is worth $1. Others may say it's worth $3. As of making this video, a single Bitcoin is worth $22,000. How much a Bitcoin is worth also depends on the time frame, since it behaves a little bit like stocks. The price depends on the Bitcoin community, traders, and how much electricity it takes to mine it. It's also scarce. Bitcoin is programmed so that within a few years, no more coins shall be generated. It is limited. Once it will be completely mined, most likely its value will be increased. But also, I wouldn't advise to invest your life savings in it, since the value is still uncertain. I would rather you not have to sell your home just for some Bitcoin currency. It began trading at 9 cents in July 2010 and went up to 67,566.83 cents on the November 8, 2021. But today, at the time of making this video, it's at $22,000 roughly. So always invest carefully. Using all the security within a blockchain makes it easy for data to be secured and untouched. And blockchains could even be used not just by cryptocurrencies, but also to store unique data like medical records, and can even be used to do the big businessy stuff like collecting taxes and storing personal data, and probably many more things. Many new blockchains are appearing, but unlike Bitcoin, which uses proof of work, many are using proof of stake, like EOS or Casper. That we will cover in future video, so don't forget to hit the subscribe button. All in all, blockchain is how Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies transfer their currency safely and securely to make sure no little hacker goblins can get into your stuff. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, please hit the like button as it helps support the channel and reach further audience. Don't forget to hit subscribe on the way out, fellas. Thank you for watching.